Today we're going to be looking at Key Market by David Brain. It handles 2 to 4 players in an hour and a half to 2 hours. To set up the game, you're going to give each player a player shield in their color, a quick reference card in their color, 10 workers in their color, 1 of each resource except for luxuries, an amount of money based on turn order, 3 for first player, 4 for the second and third player, 5 for the fourth player, and a farmhouse. You're also going to remove some of the possible resources from the game before the start of the game based on the number of players, because they are all a limited resource. Luxuries are wild double resources. They can count as any 2 different resources. However, you can only use 1 luxury in any given payment. Then you're going to fill up the market board based on the number of players, 1 in each spot besides luxuries for 4 players, 2 in each spot besides luxury for 3 players, and 3 in each row besides luxury for 2 players. Then you're going to put out 5, 6, or 7 random guilds for 2, 3, and 4 players respectively. Randomly place 1 of each player token in the first winter season spot on this board, and then place them in reverse order on the favor board. Take the various season markers, shuffle them face down, and put 2 on each of these season squares. Then do the same with the circular markers with the number 2 on the back of them. And then the circular markers without the number 2 go on top of the ones with the number 2. Now flip up the top marker on each stack. Give each player a random country board with a random side face up. And each player in turn will place 1 country board, place 1 of their workers on any legal space besides the village, and gain 1 resource of the type shown. Board placement must be directly orthogonal, and you cannot place in the same connected area of 1 color that somebody else is already in. Then each player pays for their farmhouse. It costs a different resource for each player, and then 1 of any of the other resources of their choice. Payment selections are revealed simultaneously and then placed onto the market. Now you're ready to begin the game. Each turn is basically what's shown on your quick reference card. Everybody in turn will do all of their farming actions that they wish to do in order. So for example, the blue player will move workers. It costs 1 gold per space moved. If you end your movement in a village, it costs you 5 additional gold. You cannot end anywhere adjacent to 1 of your other tokens, and you cannot end up in a connected color area of somebody else's token. You may move through illegal spaces as long as you do not stop in them. You can hire exactly 1 worker if you want. It costs 1 gold for each of your workers that's already on the country boards. Then you receive goods based on where your people are. For the most part, squares will give you 2 of that good, and circles will give you 1 of that good. However, if it's the circular face-up token on the season track, you'll get 3 of that good if you're in a circular space, and 0 of the shown good if you're in a square space of that type of good. Then you can promote 1 guild member, which is moving them from whatever level they're already on in a guild up 1 level. You can upgrade your farmhouse, paying the farmhouse cost again plus an additional luxury. This is worth 15 points by itself and allows you to retire workers later in the game. And you can retire 1 worker by paying 4 different resources. Then the next player will do the same set of actions in order. You can choose to skip any action you don't want to do. Once everybody's done that, it's market day, and everybody will secretly choose any number of resources from behind their player screen and hide them in their hand. You must choose at least 1 if you can, and then everybody will reveal simultaneously. Then you take turns either nominating batches or taking your guild action for the turn. When you nominate a batch, you choose 1 or 2 of the same kind of item and sell it at the market. For instance, I would choose 1 fish. The 4 space is empty, so I get 4 money for my fish, and it goes in the market. If I nominate a batch with 2 different resources, I get the money shown on the first empty space for both of them. For instance, I would get 3 times 2 is 6, and then I would put only 1 of them in the market, and the other would be discarded. Everything that you bring to the market must be sold. Instead of nominating one of your batches, once per turn you can take a guild action, which is sponsoring an apprentice, which is the only way to get them started in a guild. It costs you 2 different resources to put them in the first level of the guild, and it gives you a special ability as shown down here. Or you can promote an apprentice up to a craftsman by paying 3 different resources, or you can promote a craftsman up to master by paying 4 different resources. Or you can retire one worker by paying 4 different resources, which is removing them from wherever behind your screen, on the board, in a guild if you're crazy, and you get 15 points at the end of the game for each retired worker. You can buy 1 or 2 resources of the same type from the market for the price shown on the empty space on the board. So if I wanted to buy 2 fish, it would cost me 3 apiece, because 3 is the empty space. Or you can take cash, which is taking 5 money minus 1 for each of your workers that are on the country board. Doing this also moves you up to the top of the favor track, which is the tiebreaker track. Once everybody has sold everything that they came to the market with, and you must sell everything that you come to the market with, and taken 1 guild action, you move on to basically a bookkeeping step where you adjust market prices. If there's a negative up at the top of the column, and if the market is full up to that point, you take that many out of that resource row. You're moving season markers. It's taking the markers off of the season that you just finished and revealing the next year's markers. You pay 2 gold per worker you want to keep on the board and remove any that you don't want to, and then establish player order, which is if you have the least amount of workers on the country board, you get to go first next season. Otherwise, it's based on the tiebreak chart. The winter season is a little different from the others because only villages produce during the winter season. Once you've gone through all the seasons twice, the game ends and you're going to get 1 point for every gold you have. If you've converted your farm to a manor house, that counts as 15 additional gold for each worker that you retired. That's 15 additional gold. For guild members, 15 for guild masters, 10 for craftsmen, 5 for apprentices, and having leftover pairs of resources counts as 5 gold pieces. You'll notice that I was looking at this reference card a lot, and even after you've got a few games under your belt, you'll still be kind of going down the list and figuring out where you're at and what you need to do. The game, my biggest complaint about the game is that it feels sort of procedural in that matter. In theory, you're supposed to advance the players along this board as you advance the seasons, but my experience is that people only really notice it when it's time to change player order at the end of each season. Guilds all have a variety of different abilities. If there's a plus next to an ability, that means you get to use this level ability in addition to the one below it. And this and your guild action during the market season are some of your biggest decisions in the game. There's a lot of parity in the game overall, and the market, even though it seems like it would fluctuate a lot, really just kind of stabilizes within a 1 or 2 number range. I enjoy the game, and while it is a brain burner, it's not really as captivating as I wish it was for me. But I'm sure lots of people will get more out of it than I did.